Welcome to the Golf Industry Show 2019 here in what is now sunny San Diego, California. It was rainy and I've been griping about the weather since I got on this stage because it's been raining forever in the Northeast. I'm Frank Rossi. I'm on the GCSAA TV stage here, sponsored by Lebanon Turf, and I'm joined by two important people from the Most Valuable Technician Award, our recipient this year and the golf course superintendent that nominated the technician this year. I got to get the names right. Trent Manning, Courtney Young. There we go. Good to see you fellas. Thanks for taking the time. This is what a great honor. And I'm so pleased, I really love Hector. I'm a big fan of Hector's shop, Hector Velasquez, and what he's doing to raise the profile of the equipment technician, the equipment manager in this industry. Not that superintendents need to know the value of these people, because most of them would give an arm or a hand before they'd get rid of their equipment manager. So Courtney, let's start out with, tell me about the Ainsley Club, and then we'll get to why ultimately you nominated this young man.
Ainsley is a club that was formed in 1912 as one of the first residential golf courses in the country. And it was a short carriage ride from downtown Atlanta. And the city has boomed past it, and the need for more golf
has grown.
Also, it's really grown. And Setting Down is a great golf course north of Atlanta, championship kind of place, and the two clubs merged. So Trent and I came really from a Setting Down background. I'm in my 32nd year there, and Trent's been there a long time. And then when we merged, we wound up being over both operations, from a golf course and
no kidding. So how old is the place outside of town that you've been at?
32 years. I grew it in.
You built it. How about that?
Yeah.
So golf is, of course, vibrant in the Atlanta area, right?
Yes.
So you're the superintendent of both properties?
Right.
And you're the equipment manager for both properties?
Correct.
So you can't be in two places at once. So you're based out where at the place outside of town, and make your way in. So there must be a fair amount of equipment that you're managing in both locations. So let's talk about that. What made you nominate this young man for this award?
Well, I've worked with Trent for so long, and he is amazing. And I'm amazed by him almost every day.
So tell me some of the particular things. When you use a word like amazed, it's like, I'm not expecting him to do this, but he's doing it.
One of the things is he can make my dreams happen. So if I come to him with an idea, he can manufacture it. He can make it happen. He'll see it all the way through to the end. And he understands all the facets of what goes on the golf course because he came up from the crew. He was an irrigation technician. And then on up. So he's done every job. He's done golf course construction also. And
so you obviously, as an equipment manager, he's managing your fleet. But you talked about this amazing thing. It's almost like he's a machinist of some sort.
Yeah, sure. He can manufacture anything.
It's so great we're talking about him with him right here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so let's talk to you. Right? So did he tell you hey, let's go for this?
Yes.
He did.
He told me he was going to nominate me.
Yeah. And at first you're like, okay, what do I got to do? How am I going to get this award, right? So he's talking about the amazing things. What do you think were the important things that made him want to nominate you?
Well, kind of like what he said. He has a vision on what he wants done.
Right, so give me an example. Give me an example. What does he say? I want to cut the greens at 050?
No, anybody can do that, right? There's a lot of us doing that.
That's right.
So one of the things that we worked on is every year we have to resod a lot of the golf course from winter kill, stuff like that, but it's all little places, right?
Yep.
And we don't
Some of the Bermuda dies off from winter kill. Okay.
And we don't want to water it with the irrigation system because it's a real small spot.
Right.
So he said, we need a portable water trailer. So we had an old Cushman vac that we were no longer using. And I stripped it down and made it into a flatbed, put a water tank on it, a water pump. So now we have a mobile watering cart.
Yeah, perfect. So those kinds of little things, and you see this a lot because you don't want to turn on the whole system for a small area. because you haven't fired it up yet, maybe in the beginning of the year when it's getting going. So these little things that you manufacture, that's a component of the job, but there must be other people working on equipment if there's 2 locations. So you're supervising people.
Correct.
As well as sort of turning a wrench yourself.
Yes, I got 1 full-time guy at the Midtown location and 2 full-time guys at Setting Down.
Nice. Okay, so I'm assuming there's good parts inventory, there's preventative maintenance in place for all these equipment. Are you using any technology to help with that stuff?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I've tried it personally, some of the programs they have out there, and it seems like all I do is data entry. And we're not using that data in an effective way.
Yet.
Maybe down the road there is, and I know there's a big... So
somebody's going around looking at the equipment, checking the hours for when the PM's got to be done, right?
Yeah, we put after we do a service, we put a sticker on it.
Right.
So a lot of times the operators will come to us and say, this is getting close to a service.
Okay, so how long have you been turning a wrench? How long have you been doing this, equipment manager?
1998.
Okay.
Was my first year.
Over 20 years now.
Right.
Over 20 years.
So I started working for Courtney in 1995.
Yeah.
Like he said, just mowing greens, fly mowing, weed eating, all those fun jobs on the golf course.
Paying the dues.
Right. 16 years old, making a lot more money than all my friends. It was way above minimum wage.
Secret, right? This business plays pretty good.
And then I worked my way up to assistant mechanic, and then our mechanic left a couple years later. And I took his spot.
So when I look at 20 years of equipment management, I look at the dramatic changes that have happened, right? 20 years ago, there probably wasn't an electric device at the shop. Now, most operations have a fair amount of electric motors, hybrid motors, not battery operated, but just a lot more electric equipment. What other kinds of things have changed over the years for you?
I mean, that's probably the biggest one, is all the electronics. When we first started, it was just, a wiring harness, a fuse, a relay, that type of stuff. And now, we got ECMs. You can hook a laptop to a fairway mower.
So it's looking like a car shop now, right? It has diagnostics on it as well?
Yes. Last week I saw a laptop hooked to a chainsaw. So that's where we're going.
Okay. All right.
The outdoor power equipment, all the small hand tools, a lot more people are going electric to get away from the dirty.
Noise, especially in urban areas, right?
Noise.
So I want to go back to you, Courtney, because having worked on many golf courses in my career, spent a lot of time on golf courses, there's not always, let's say, a warm and fuzzy relationship between the staff and the equipment manager, because a lot of times, like a doctor, you're only going to see him when something's wrong or you got something you need fixing. How, I'm going to do it in front of them, how is the relationship with the staff and the equipment management?
It's fantastic.
That's got to be
everyone recognizes Trent as a leader, and everyone relies on him. So, and we talk about more than the equipment. We talk about the operations on the golf course, and Trent is my go-to guy. I bounce all my ideas off of him, whether that's staff related, everything. Yeah, he's my right-hand person.
So you have assistants as well at these facilities,
I have a superintendent at each golf course and
excellent.
assistants under that. I went to Trent, though, because I have a lunch bunch of superintendents, and it's great.
Yeah.
And I went to Trent, and I said, you need to do something with the other equipment managers. And Trent is the kind of person that won't just leave an idea like that. Yeah. He goes with it. And he just jumped all in. He got involved. He doesn't talk about technology, but he got involved in websites and on, and did.
So did you create a little lunch bunch of equipment managers?
Yeah. So we're so busy we can't do it at lunch, right? We're busy. So we do it after work.
Oh, nice.
We meet at 3:30, 4 o'clock, usually at somebody's shop. And there's, 10 to 15 of us from the local area.
This is great.
That get together.
This is great. This is real. And one of the things that we've known for a long time is there's a certain amount of professionalism and now all kinds of skills required. It's not just fixing small engines and setting reels anymore.
Right.
It's you get these diesel units that you're running on fairways with the Tier 4 diesel stuff in it. I mean, you're talking about $100,000 worth of metal driving around your property. This is not anything we had years ago. So the responsibilities have grown, and it's nice to see that, everybody that you were able to have at these lunches is seeing there's a professionalism involved, and you certainly represent it well. Is that something that you try to do when you identify a young person that might be interested, like somebody poked at you? Are you noticing some things in the crew that you might bring on to being an equipment manager? Do you notice things about young people coming into this business that might make them good equipment managers?
Yes.
Because it is a career track.
Right, no, it's definitely a career track, and it's sad that a lot of people do not know.
It? Or did you see, hey, I'd like to do that, because you were weed whacking and then you're doing irrigation?
I have no idea about what equipment manager is when I started on the golf course. I didn't even know they had a mechanic there, I just started working. But yeah, that's something I aspired to do. I always, like diagnosing problems. I'm a problem solver. So
yeah, and it says you won't leave a good idea on the table, but it seemed like with technology, you said, I looked at it, I took a look at it, and it didn't seem like it was what I needed yet, right?
Right.
But you could imagine that's probably, I would hope that technology is going to get easier over time, where the equipment is talking to something, you're not doing any data entry, that the equipment's talking to a hub somewhere, telling it the hours, looking at the diagnostics on the mower.
They do have wireless hour meters and hubs that will report back to the computer that would let you know.
That would take some of the data stuff out of it.
That would that would take some.
It'd give you an alert when it was time for a PM.
Right, exactly.
So let's, Foley United is sponsoring the award. Obviously, Foley's in the real maintenance business. Reels haven't changed much at all. How are they to work on nowadays? Do you're working on 11-bladed reels, 13-bladed reels, 14-bladed reels? Do you find that working on these reels any different than it used to be when you first started 20 years ago?
It's definitely a little different. The basic concept is the same. The metallurgy that the reel's made out of has changed over the years for the better. That's been a benefit.
Adjustments are more user-friendly maybe than they used to be?
Adjustments are definitely more user-friendly, not just reel to bed knife adjustments, but how to cut also.
And they're staying in position? They're not wandering, floating out of position?
Right. Not near as bad as before.
Not near as bad. What about bed knife stuff? Has the bed knife stuff changed very much?
Same thing, getting harder. Using harder material, getting thinner as
wearing
we like
out quicker.
That we like to.
He loves to. Does he sling a fair amount of sand that drives you crazy?
Every week in the growing season.
Every week.
But it doesn't drive me crazy, and I think that's a common misconception. And if the superintendent and technician are at odds on aerification or top dressing, is because of lack of communication. I understand what they're doing on the golf course to make the playing conditions better, so it doesn't bother me when they top dress.
So are you making adjustments to the mower after he slings some sand to make it not pick up as much sand, or are you just sacrificing mower?
Well, we do a light enough top dressing, we water it in. If there's dew that morning, we run irrigation to knock the dew off, and then we mow, and it's not that hard on the mowers.
So communicating with him about this is critical.
Yes, it is. And I would say the other thing, because I've seen things change, and what he does.
Right.
And he works tournaments. Like he'll go to East Lake for the Tour Championship and help there, or the PGA last year.
Right.
And he brings those concepts back to us. And every mower, if it goes out, it's thoroughly checked. It's every day.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that there's any single thing more important that those things are going out every day.
Right.
And so you wouldn't send something out that wasn't operating properly at all.
No.
So having that attention to detail is really critical. So you go to the circus every once in a while. Those events get pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nice when you got almost all brand new stuff, huh?
Yeah, I went to the 100th at Belle Reve and worked up there Advance Week. And the experience you gain volunteering at one of these tournaments is remarkable.
Yeah, it is, I would imagine. Now, what about fleet management? Are you keeping, with that big of an operation, you've got a lot of pieces of equipment. Is it a good lease program that works with a maintenance program? How do you guys manage your equipment? Are you bringing in new stuff all the time, or you keeping stuff that normally would be gone growing longer?
We keep it. We buy it. We buy everything. We don't lease anything. And it's just, you know, our philosophy. You know, get all the life out of it we can and give the members the best product we can.
Well, 32 years at one place, they've gotten a fair amount of life out of you in that one location. You had an equipment manager that left to make room for this young man. How long was that person in place?
Well, both of the guys had 2 tours with me, and they left and came back. And so that's part of
been
what, over 30 years.
You know, obviously this is an award celebrating, you know, his accomplishments, but you have to create that environment where he can be successful, right? So, I mean, that's not something that everybody wants to be is able to invest in, creating an opportunity for the equipment manager to grow. Was that a tough sell any time for you?
No.
No? People recognize the value of the
Everyone
equipment.
recognizes Trent. I mean, my CFO, everyone in the club recognizes Trent. Everyone in the state of Georgia recognizes Trent.
Very good. Okay. So obviously that's been pretty good. A 20-year good run there. The Most Valuable Technician Award from Foley United. Trent, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoy the show. Courtney, good job for nominating him, and thanks for creating a great place for him to be successful. Foley United sponsors the Most Valuable Technician Award. Have you gotten it?
Yes,
They gave it to you. Is it a big wrench?
No, just a little plaque.
Great. Make sure you show it up with pride.
I will.
Thanks for joining me, fellas.
Thank you.
The Golf Industry Show here in San Diego, 2019. This is the GCSAA TV live stage brought to you by Lebanon Turf. We'll be right back.